the home of the oldest club in the league, but the history of the Bellevue Aces is all around us, from Hyde Road to Kirkmansham Lane, and now here at the National Speedway Stadium. This is the future of the sport in Manchester. Good evening and welcome to the National Stadium. We've just had the biggest speedway dates on the British calendar, and tonight the fans of two big rivals, Bellevue and Wolverhampton, are looking forward to a top-of-the-table clash in the Premiership. And with me, alongside me in the pits, is Kelvin Tatum, former British champion, of course. And what a great weekend we've just had in Cardiff. Pinnacle meeting, of course, in the calendar. Doesn't disappoint, does it, ever, the British GP? Perhaps the only disappointment was perhaps the home performance of the home riders.
It was a fabulous an evening to forget. Ty actually started in fine fashion and won his opening ride. Jason Doyle, he had his ups and downs, that's for sure, but certainly finished very strongly with a second place. A bit of frustration certainly shown at one point, but Jason, the Australian, is riding brilliantly. For Ty going out on 9 points, that was a frustrating evening for him, and of course, certainly we would have wanted to see him in the final. And now the top three have separated themselves. There's a bit of a gap now emerging between 3 and 4, 17 points. So the rest of them have got work to do, haven't they? They have indeed, and they're in great form, and one or two other riders are going to have to pick up their performance. But Janowski, his performance on the weekend was absolutely spectacular. The back end of the meeting, the semi-final and the final, out of the top draw. Well, incidentally, a date for next year's British Grand Prix at Cardiff has already been announced, and it is July the 21st. Tickets are already on sale for the Principality Stadium. Before we get into tonight's meeting, let's take a look back over what's happened in the Premiership over the last week. 7 days ago, we witnessed a night of high drama at Beaumont Park between Leicester and Swindon. Already without Josh Bates, the Lions were further reduced to 3 riders following injuries to Kyle Newman, Pavel Szapelski and Kim Nilsson on the night. It ended with a last heat decider, with the Robins swooping to victory.
Danny King's high in the banking, down to the line, Swindon have pinched it, Swindon have pinched the win. Can you believe what you've seen?
On the same evening, Wolves' winning home record was broken for the first time this season by Poole. But he didn't stop there for the Robins. On Wednesday, they collected 4 points on the South Coast when they beat the Pirates. And they...
Everybody keeps saying, you know, it's a long way to the end of the season and maybe we peaked too early, but I think we can keep it going. There's a belief in the camp now, and there's no negativity no more. We've just got to be positive. Everybody writes us off. We don't even talk about that now. It's just about going out and doing what we've done this last week. 23 out of 24 points in a week, which ain't bad really, is it?
Well, it means that Alan Rossiter's team have jumped from 5th to 3rd in the table after that week. The Aces remain top, but the top 4 teams separated now by just 4 points. The Aces, as I say, at the top. Wolves at second by just a point between them. The big breaking news this afternoon, though, is that man Craig Cook, the Aces captain, isn't here with us this evening. He's aggravated a back injury. And Kelvin, for Aces fans, with that news, this meeting may feel a little bit different now.
It has to. You know, Craig has been in terrific form for the Aces this season. He's been their leader. And they get rider replacement. Everybody can have a ride. Kenneth Pierre has been riding extremely well, but they will need everybody else to step up.
Bellevue, by their own admission, have been a little bit vulnerable here at home. So who do you look at in this team as going to be leading them this evening?
Rowan Tungeck is a rider that was signed specifically for the performances he can put in here at the National Speedway Stadium. Hasn't done it so far, but he's going to need to do something this evening because Wolves are the champions.
And Wolves may feel optimistic coming here, but like we said, they're not at full strength either. So who's going to be important for the visitors?
I've gone with their top man tonight, Natalie, because Freddie Lindgren has had slightly indifferent performances just very recently. He's a top quality rider. He knows and rides this place very well. A big score from him is vital for the Wolves this evening.
These are the 2 top teams, but all the top teams are taking points off each other at the moment, and these 2 teams have both come into this one off the back of 2 defeats. So they'll be desperate to get back to winning ways, just to add a little bit of spice to tonight.
Absolutely, added motivation to get the points this evening. There's no doubt about that. Unusually, they've been beaten recently. We didn't see it coming, but no doubt this will be a hotly contested affair.
Well, let's hear from both the teams then here this evening. Steve Worrell and Freddie Lindgren are speaking to Steve Brandon.
Thanks, Natalie. Yes, I am indeed joined by the two captains tonight. Standing captain for Bellevue, Steve Worrell, and Freddie Lindgren from Wolves. I'll start with you, Freddie. Similar question to both when we get to it. A rider missing, second in the average, means everyone has to ride, which means everyone has to perform.
Certainly do. I mean, having one man short is obviously tough, but it's the same for both teams. It means that all the rest of the guys in the team have to step up tonight.
And a chance to go top of the table with the right result.
We see it as a big opportunity here tonight. We have some guys that go good around this track, and the track looks very well prepared, so we're looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. And for you, Steve, obviously standing captain, but also the same for you. Everyone has to have an extra ride tonight, or a lot of the guys.
Obviously, we've got our work cut out. Craig's a big asset to us, but Fred pointed out they've got some riders who ride this track really well, but again, we're the Bellevue Aces, and obviously we can all have a go, and we'll give it our best, and hopefully we'll win.
All right, we're going to find out where we're going from. So you're going to call, you're going to toss the coin. Freddie's going to call. Heads is called, and heads it is. Freddie, what are you going to take?
We're going to go for gate 1 and 3 and heat 1.
Okay, so that's Wolverhampton in gate 1 and 3 at the start. Bellevue have choice at the end. Race time.
Well, the track here is regarded as one of the best in the country. Kelvin is out there to tell us why.
You find me down on the start line for tonight's Premiership meeting, and I'm on gate 4, and I really want to have a good look at the view, the rider's view, when they leave the tapes, particularly, firstly, from this outside position, gate 4. It's a wide track, and as a consequence of that, we do see that it is a long way to that first corner to get across to the curb. And early on you can make a start from here, but generally later on in the evening it can be quite difficult indeed. If we just take now a walk across the track and we get a look at what it looks like going from the inside, it is significantly shorter, and of course as long as you're level you can peel off and you can get into that first turn and dominate that first turner. I've had the dirtometer out early, and there's no doubt that there's a significant amount of grip on the track. Not quite as much as the British final, but on the start here, it looks absolutely terrific. No excuses for anybody across the start line this evening. It's going to be a cracking meeting. Two big guns, 1 and 2 in the league, going head to head.
Thank you, Kelvin. Well, our first 4 riders are getting ready for heat number 1. Just time to tell you that the next action from the Premiership is in 2 weeks' time when we head to Norfolk for the Kingsland Stars against the Somerset Rebels. That is the 7th of August from 7:30 on BT Sport 2. It is first against second here tonight, and it's coming up after this break. Welcome back to Manchester, and what a fantastic crowd we've got here, as you would expect for such an important meeting. These two sides have met twice already in the Premiership this season, and both have won a meeting each. So who will take the points tonight? Let's get to our commentators, Kelvin Tatum and Nigel Pearson.
Thank you, Natalie. Good evening. Welcome along to Manchester. A big crowd here. Really looking forward to the action tonight. The top 2 in the league. A repeat of last year's grand final, although only 2 riders in each team in action tonight rode in that grand final, which Wolverhampton just about nicked in thrilling style here last October. It really was one of the most thrilling climaxes to a league season that we've seen for quite some time. Heat number 1, Ben Barker is in yellow and black here. He's a shrewd choice of guest for Carl Howarth, who's out with concussion. He got to the final of the British Championship here in Manchester just a month or so ago, so he does like this track. A winner, 3 points, 2 for second, 1 for third, and nothing for finishing last in individual heats. The league match points, if Bellevue win, it'll be 3 points, but if Wolves lose by 6 or less, they'll get a point. If they win, 3 points for a win, or by more than 7 as the away team, they will cash in and get 4 league points. I don't know about you, Kel, but the absence of Craig Cook for Bellevue with that back injury that is aggravated, I reckon it matches this meeting up quite nicely.
It could very well do, and there's no doubt that Craig has ridden really well for the Aces this season, and it is quite a blow for them. and a shame up against the champions. I'm sure if he was fully fit, he would have been really keen to have a real good go tonight.
Ben Barker goes off the inside for the Wolves in yellow. It's Stevie Worrell, gate 2 in blue. For the Aces, gate 3 white. Freddie Lindgren for Wolverhampton. And Kenneth Bier going off the outside in red, the fast-starting Dane. Could be a good one, this. Fasten your seatbelts, enjoy the entertainment over the next couple of hours or so. Live from the National Speedway Stadium here in Manchester. It staged a World Cup last year. This purpose-built facility in only its second season of operation. And we are raring to go. Heat number 1. Craig Ackroyd, our referee, with his finger on the button. It's a good start from Lindgren from gate number 3. Gets the drop superbly in the apex of the first turn. But the Bellevue boys are coming through now. Kenneth Bier's got speed in red. The man in blue is...
Superstar from gate number 3 for Freddie Lindgren. He needs a big night tonight, and he's starting in fine style. Barker's out the back, just got out battled going into the first turn. Yeah, coming through in the second place. Worrell in third. What, track looks absolutely perfect, not a ripple on it. Certainly Freddie Lindgren now really beginning to settle and pulling away down that back straight. Super ride from the number 1 man from Wolves.
Yep, leading the way, the number 1 for Wolverhampton. Kenneth Bier and Stevie Worrell, the Bellevue duo in second and third. It looks like it's going to be a share of the spoils in the opening race of the night. With fast Freddie Lindgren, he's been with Wolves for quite some time now, had a testimonial with them, and he takes the checkered flag. It's a winning start for Freddie Lindgren for Wolverhampton, but it's a share of the spoils with Bellevue packing the minor placings there. That looked really quick as well with the smooth nature of the track here tonight. They really did wind it on, and Lindgren there super quick, wasn't he?
Yeah, if you don't wind it on here, you're going to be out of the points, and there's no doubt that Freddie Lindgren, who's just been slightly below his best in recent weeks, comes up with a terrific ride there, and it's much needed. I think he's their talisman. Big performance from him. They could well be in for a big result.
Yeah, Lindgren from Bier, from Worrell, from Barker the guest, who I said was a shrewd choice of guests, but didn't make the start there and was squeezed out early on. It was all about the man in white, Lindgren, who just got the drop going into the first turn.
Yeah, he did. He did well there, because Worrell is a useful performer coming from gate 2, but the Grand Prix man from Sweden makes a terrific effort. I've got to say that Bier rides nicely here to get through the second place. Bit of hustling and elbows and a bit of argy-bargy between Ben Barker and Steve Worrell, but Worrell wins out and Barker fails to score. But out in front, I'll tell you what the track looked. Absolutely beautiful to ride. And look at that style out in front. I'm sure he thoroughly enjoyed that. The track will develop. There's no doubt that more material will develop as the evening goes on. But Freddie Lindgren showing his class.
Passing on 1 or 2 bits of information to colleagues as well. Rory Schlein having a chat with him there. I'll tell you as well, also in the pits tonight, there's a real legend of the sport, Carl Stonehewer, from this part of the world, Denton in Manchester, rode for Bellevue for many years, rode for the Workington Comets, and actually the second division rider at the time remarkably qualified for the Grand Prix series. It was quite a story, but Stoney's boy Beau, who's 14 now, was going around on a 125cc bike a little bit earlier, and Stoney reckons he might have something to offer there, his lad.
Well, let's hope so. And it was I saw Carl at Grand Prix as well in Cardiff at the weekend, and really good to see him out and about. Haven't been at the Speedway for some time actually, Carl, but he was a hugely successful rider and a really talented one. Hero at Workington Comets for some time, and it was unusual he rode in the second tier of British Speedway, but he rode at the Grand Prix level, so he did a good job too.
Mark Lemon, the Bellevue director of Speedway, team manager in charge of the Aces here this evening, a former rider himself, Mark, and the Australian team manager too, and doing a pretty good job here. He held Bellevue together magnificently last year, because it was pretty well documented that they had problems off the track, and indeed the very future of the club was in jeopardy during the close season, but thankfully they pulled through. Edition of Speedway in Manchester with the Aces here at the National Speedway Stadium. Of course, rich tradition of Speedway in Manchester with the Aces, world famous Bellevue. Going back to the Hydro days, we saw that at the top of the show. Kirkmanstone Lane Greyhound Stadium just across the way, and here now as well. Dan Bewley, Ellis Perks, Jack Smith, Nathan Greaves is your lineup for Heat 2. And these two Bellevue youngsters, Bewley in particular off the inside, one to watch here, Kel.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of Bewley now, and a lot of talk about him, but I like him. and I think he's got a big future in the sport. Bewley making great strides. Jack Smith, also the son of Andy Smith, of course, who was a hero for Bellevue back in the day. He's also gaining valuable experience.
Here we go, heat number 2, and it's a jet-propelled start from Dan Bewley off the inside gate. Second place right now is Ellis Perks for Wolverhampton, and Greaves has come through. Greaves has just nipped up the inside of Jack Smith into third place for Wolverhampton. The leader here is with Dan Bewley going into lap 2. Second place, Ellis Perks for the Wolves, Nathan Greaves third, Jack Smith at the back, and Bewley, who has the Glasgow legend Stevie Lawson in his pits corner once again tonight. Clearly making great progress in the sport.
Yeah, he made a great start too, really sharp away from the tape. Absolutely brilliant out in front. He's a lightweight and the bike is flying out in front. This could be quite a good time, you know. He really is setting down a marker here. Ellis Perks has ridden nicely for second place. Good effort from him, and Nathan Greaves hustling Jack Smith out of the way. Another 3-all on the cards. Could well be a tight night, this. Not a lot to choose between the two teams.
Still deadlock after a couple of races here then. Dan Bewley is going to take it. First race winner for Bellevue, but the Wolves pack the minor placings and they'll be happy with that. Freddie Lindgren, you heard him at the top of the show saying they sense an opportunity here in Manchester for Wolverhampton tonight. Ellis Perks, you said, did well there. He's on a short-term contract for Wolverhampton with Mark Riss, I'm told, making good progress now.
Okay.
Could be knocking on the door for a return in the not too distant.
Yeah, brilliant ride from Dan Bewley, and as I said before, he is really beginning to make himself quite a hero here, and a rider that I think has got a huge amount of potential. I expect him to be an international rider of the future, and he wins Heat 2 very nicely indeed.
Dan Bewley the winner with Ellis Perks second, Nathan Greaves third, Jack Smith at the back. It's a 3-all, so after 2 heats it's still level. It's Bellevue 6, Wolverhampton 6, and every bit as close as many people thought it would be after a couple of heats here tonight.
Yeah, deadlock, as you rightly say, after 2 heats, and as a consequence of this, because Dan Bewley on the inside gate there makes a great start, really good, hits that first corner. He's got a lovely style, really looks good. He's the perfect build for a speedway rider. We're seeing it again. He's sharp away from the tape, such a good attribute to have as a speedway rider, to drop the clutch at the right time. Clearly he has great concentration on the start line, really does react brilliantly. Ellis Perks has ridden strongly there, did a good job for the Wolves, and also there's no doubt that Nathan Greaves coming into third place as well was useful for the 3-all, but Dan Bewley clearly enjoyed himself there. Quite a shy lad, I think. I don't think he says too much, does all his talking on the track. Well, that's fantastic, isn't it? Because, you know, he's getting plenty of laps, riding all sorts of shapes and sizes of tracks. He's learning his trade, and that's the best way to do it.
Big crowd here. This is the back straight you're seeing now here at the National Speedway Stadium. This is only the back straight. The home straight's pretty busy as well. It's good to see.
Fabulous turnout, really good atmosphere here. And the champions have certainly captured the imagination of the public in Manchester this evening. Reduced ticket admission, admittedly, but there's no doubt when the champions are in town, they know they're going to be in for something a little bit special.
Well, Ben Barker is here again then, this time in the yellow helmet colour. This is his rider replacement for Jakob Torschel, who's unavailable tonight. I know Chris Van Straat, the owner of the Wolves, is far from happy with the circumstances behind that. Jakob Torschel in Poland and unavailable as a consequence, so it's rider replacement, and Ben Barker takes Torschel's first ride of the night here in Manchester. Rory Schlein, who's been a great signing for the Wolves, he goes off the inside. Then it's Rowan Tungate for Bellevue, one of their team changes. Gate number 3 in yellow is Ben Barker, covering for Torschel. And Max Frick, World Under-21 champion, going off the outside in red. Britain's Robert Lambert scored 9 yesterday in Poznan in the opening round of the World Under-21 Championship, but got hurt along the way as well and misses tonight's meeting for Kings Lynn at Leicester.
Well, that's unfortunate, but for the home team here, this is quite a significant ride, particularly for Rowan Tungate, signed recently to replace Justin Sedgman. He needs to come up with a really big performance, and he's more than capable, hasn't done it quite yet.
There we go, he's number 3, and that was a really quick getaway from Ben Barker initially, but it's actually Rowan Tungate who's made the start. Now Barker's having to go, watch out for the man in red, charging hard. Max Frick coming around the outside. Can Frick round them up? Schleit's coming up the inside. Frick's having a go now. Look at Max Frick go! The crowd are raising the roof here. What a move from Max Frick. Schlein will give it everything, but this is wonderful work from Rowan Tungate and Max Frick, and Schlein is still having a go at the inside.
It's not over. Tell you what, that was a terrific lap and a bit from Max Frick. Look at that style. Round the outside in that bottom corner. Fabulous stuff from him. Rowan Tungate away to a good start. Initially, Ben Barker was there, but he's outpaced into the last lap. A big 5-1 on the cards here. There's no doubt about that. But Max Frick, hugely impressive here in his opening ride.
Look how quick he's going.
Brilliant.
Max Frick for the Bellevue Aces. What a ride. Brilliant stuff from Frick and Tungate as well. The deadlock is broken in favour of Bellevue. A big 5-1 in heat number 3. Frick doing it the hard way. Really did work hard to get through. Rory Schlein was in contention to challenge for the lead.
Yeah.
But Frick came through beautifully, and that was fantastic speedway.
It was fantastic speedway, and Max Frick got out-hustled initially, but he just kept it wound on around the outside, trusted the speed in his bike, and crikey, did he have some. And he just literally leapt to the front and looked really impressive riding high and wide, generating more and more speed. He kept his wheels in line. That is the key through these big wide corners. Max Frick showing why he's a world-class rider.
Brilliant from Frick. Tungate was second. Rory Schlein for Wolves third. Battling away, but not quite enough. And Ben Barker at the back in place of
Superstar. Then his quick start and his quick out in front. Frick's at the back at this early stage, commits himself to that outside run. Ben Barker hasn't got the pace. Schlein's frustrated. He was caught on the inside there, desperately tried to get across to block the move from Frick, but Frick absolutely fabulous round the outside of his compatriot there, roars into the bottom corner for the second time of asking. Tungate is then aware that his teammate is with him, and Max Frick is allowed to hit the front, and once he does so, he really was a sight to behold. A smashing ride from Max Frick. He will be delighted to get off to such a good start.
Yeah, superb stuff from the Aces there. Maybe calm the nerves a little bit.
I'll say.
In the Bellevue side of the pits, we are awaiting a change in heat number 4. In fact, it looks like Steve Worrell is the man coming out here in the red helmet colour as rider replacement for Craig Cook, who, will remind you, has aggravated a back injury. And it's Stevie Worrell coming out in red in heat number 4 to partner Jack Smith with Sam Masters, and he goes well round here. We've seen him do well here. And he's alongside Nathan Greaves.
He is indeed, and the Australians will love riding here at the National Stadium. A lot of their tracks at home are big, wide and fast, and that's exactly what they're going to encounter here this evening. This is a fabulous speedway track. Took some time in the building, 7 years in the planning, but once they finally got it done, it really has delivered on all fronts in truth, and already this evening we've seen the reasons why.
Yes, and it's only fair to say as well that we saw the former Bellevue management, David Gordon, Chris Morton, we saw them on our travels around Europe, taking in different tracks, all shapes and sizes, and they got the track design absolutely spot on.
Absolutely, yeah, dead right, and they went to all parts, didn't they? We saw them in Poland, in Sweden, and they put the jigsaw together and they've come up with a terrific result, and as a consequence, the people are treated every week here to some spectacular stuff.
Yeah, brilliant World Cup final here last year as well.
Yeah, outstanding.
World's best riders, certainly heaping praise on this circuit, and quite rightly so. Heat number 4, Nathan Greaves off the inside for the Wolves. Gate number 2 in blue, Jack Smith. And gate number 3 in white is Sam Masters. And off the outside in red, Stevie Worrell. Jack Smith, who Kelvin alluded to earlier. The son of Andy Smith, Foxy as he's known, and a real legendary character throughout his career, multi-British champion, a Grand Prix rider, and he actually rode for Bellevue at the old Hyde Road when he started, I do recall.
Yeah, I rode against
Similar
him there.
time to you, Kel?
Absolutely, we started at the same time, and Andy and I had plenty of battles. A real try, not renowned for his starting ability, but he certainly was very entertaining coming through the traffic. Now looking after his boy and keeping a close eye on him.
He'd have been good round here, Andy, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, he would have loved it.
Number 4, 11-7 to the Bellevue Aces. Can the Wolves bounce back here? It's a great start from Sam Masters in the white helmet colour. It's being really worked hard here, though, by Jack Smith, the man in the blue helmet colour. Stevie Worrell's in third, with Nathan Greaves battling away. Worrell's actually having to work hard to get the better of Nathan Greaves here. Just about coming around him now. Oh. Brave effort by Greaves, but the lead is with a very stylish Sam Masters. Yeah. Second place Jack Smith, who's clearly got his setup right after trailing.
This is from Sam Masters out in front. He looks very accomplished. He's pulled away. That bike is flying out in front. Jack Smith, a much improved ride from him. Big Worrell, but he had to work hard to get the better of Nathan Greaves, and I think probably Mark Lemon was looking for a little bit more from Worrell, but there's no touching Masters in a class of his own here.
Here he comes, very, very classy. It's Sam Masters of Wolverhampton, the Australian who had a fine campaign with the Wolves last year and was one of the heroes of their top flight title glory here last October on that memorable night. Memorable for Wolves fans, not so much for Bellevue, of course, but what a night that was. And this man, Sam Masters, played his part every bit as much as the likes of Freddie Lindgren, Peter Carlson and Ty Woofenden in that team last October. What a performance. And Masters keeps his side very much. And Greaves at the back. A 3-all means now that it's 14 points to 10 in favour of the Bellevue Aces.
A little bit of movement on the start line there, but Craig Ackroyd allows that to go, the referee. Brilliant Ackroyd allows that to go, the referee. Brilliant start there from Sam Masters. We're looking at Jack Smith there, very eager to get away, but he gets himself into second place and he stays there. Sam Masters, well, what can say about these, and he finally relegates the Wolverhampton boy to the back. But the man in the white helmet colour there, Sam Masters, well, he looked very accomplished out in front. Good ride from him.
3 shared heats in the opening 4 heats. There's only a 5-1 between them so far. Decent stuff here. It's tense, it's tight. Join us for heat number 5. Bellevue Wolves on the way.
Score, you score, we score. Wasps are Sing Premiership 7 champions.
Welcome back to the National Speedway Stadium, where the Aces are leading the Wolves by 14 points to 10 after 4 heats. Steve Worrell, the stand-in Bellevue captain, alongside me. And Steve, it must be a real honour to take the captain's armband, so to speak, but what a meeting to come in and be captain for.
It is, and obviously when Mark called me up before to take up the job, it was, I've got big boots to fill. Obviously Craig's a big character in the pits here, and obviously he's sadly missed tonight, but we're here, those 6 have got to do the job.
Everyone's expecting a close meeting tonight, just 4 points in it, a little bit of a cushion, but if this season's proved anything, you can't relax, can you, here?
No, definitely not, and obviously Wolverhampton, they're a very strong team, and all 7 of their guys ride our track really well, so it's just a matter of trying to cover Craig, and hopefully we'll finish off and we'll be the winners. You're
next out in heat 6, but you might have a little bit of work to do on your bike, I believe.
Yeah, down on the fork leg, it's cracked. I don't know if they'll show an image soon, but yeah, down there. I felt the front end was really loose, and it's pretty dangerous, to be honest. If that was to go all the way through, I could have ended up doing a head plant, but now we'll jump on the next bike now, and hopefully it'll be a bit quicker than that one anyway.
Okay, well, let you go back and do the work you need to do. Thank you very much, Steve. Let's get back to commentary. Here's Calvin and Nigel.
Heat number 5 coming up, and here we see the man in yellow and black, Ben Barker, who's had 2 zeros so far, but significantly he has changed his bike here, Kelvin.
Yeah, and he needs to do something, because he's up against Rowan Tungate and Max Frick, who were very impressive with that 5-1. That's the only difference between the 2 teams, in truth. And Frick, who goes from the outside gate to the inside gate this time. And could be quite a good race, this.
Frick off the inside. Ben Barker goes off gate 2 in yellow. Rowan Tungate gate 3 in blue for the Bellevue. Freddie Lindgren going off the outside, magnificent in his opener.
Yeah.
This could be a good race here with Frick and Tungate the way they rode, and Freddie Lindgren super quick in his opening ride of the night. That was the first race. Barker looking to transform his night here.
Absolutely, and he needs to get amongst the points if he can. He's coming into guest, and he went so well in the British final, hasn't reproduced that so far. Lindgren on the outside, it's tough from there. He may well have to really dig deep here, the Swedish man, because there's no doubt that Frick and Tungate were very impressive in their opening ride. So, yeah, this is, I think that Lindgren has to come up with a big ride here.
Here we go, heat number 5, 4 points the difference. Great start from the Bellevue boys. What can Lindgren do now? Can Lindgren get through the middle here? It's super stuff from Frick and Tungate. Now Lindgren up the inside. Whoa! Frick just about gets the bike back under control. Here comes Tungate up the inside. Tungate and Lindgren having a real old ding-dong here. Tungate with the lead. Lindgren second, Barker third, and there's a battle on the back big time as well.
What a move that was. Frick was taken by surprise, a little bit out of control, and goes to the back. Rowan Tungate really coming on strong. Lindgren pushing hard in second place. Frick looking for a way through, but he just can't quite get there with Ben Barker on his spare bike, hanging on to second place. Tungate and Lindgren really going for it out in front. Into the last lap. This could be a handy heat advantage here if Barker hangs on to third place.
This is exactly why Bellevue signed Rowan Tungate. This is why they made their move. They got faith in him. He's going to the line. Rowan Tungate for Bellevue. Big win. Tough stuff early on. Freddie Lindgren, who certainly caused a few bits of controversy in the final here last year.
Yeah.
I recall that one battle he had with Craig Cook. It caused some real drama. But Tungate, brilliant. You mentioned him at the top of the show, Kel. The man in blue.
Yeah.
Has done the business here for Bellevue.
Indeed he has, and that's why they signed him. You said it. They released Justin Sedgman. They brought in Rowan Tungate. He's been disappointing prior to this evening, but so far he's unbeaten by an opponent. That was some strong ride from him. Freddie Lindgren, that move down the back straight, that was terrific from him, but he could not then hang on into the front. He was momentarily in front, but that man, he's a small man, he was flying out in front, and he will be chuffed to bits with that ride.
Great ride from Tungate. Lindgren second, Barker third. It's a 3-all with Frick at the back, and that means the latest score after 5 now is Bellevue 17, Wolverhampton 13, 5 of the 15 heats down.
Yeah, here we see it. Rowan Tungate made an absolutely perler of a start there. Runs wide in the first corner. Max Frick's there, but look at this move from Freddie Lindgren. Rides narrow down the straight, slips up the inside. Max Frick then just can't believe it and very nearly ran in the back of his own teammate. But we'll see it again from the start. Rowan Tungate absolutely fabulous away from the tapes. Brilliant move here from Freddie Lindgren. Watch him, he rides very narrow down the straight and gets the better of both of the Bellevue riders. But as they go into the bottom corner here, Rowan Tungate reads that really nicely, and I've got to say, he was able to slip up the inside. It was a good battle for first and second throughout, and Max Frick missed out, and it was a handy point from Barker. But Rowan Tungate, well, he has started in fine style. He's enjoying his night so far.
Yeah, good stuff from Tungate, and it was out of action for 3 or 4 weeks. A couple of clubs, maybe 3 or 4 clubs even, were interested in signing him, but it wasn't to be. He ended up here at Bellevue, and clearly it's a move that is starting to pay dividends. Stevie Worrell is going on a new bike here, we're told, in the blue helmet colour, going off the outside gate, and no major surprise after his problems. 2+1 from 2 rides so far for Stevie Worrell, who we saw have a pretty good World Cup final, didn't we, for Great Britain? He was the one shining light in Britain's World Cup final.
Started slowly but finished like a house on fire, and there's no doubt he redeemed himself and rode really strongly in his last couple of rides.
Sam Masters off the inside, Kenneth Pierre off 2, Ellis Perks gate 3 for Wolves, and it's Stevie Worrell going off the outside in blue.
Yeah.
This has all the makings of another absolute cracker, although, you know, passing perhaps at a premium so far. It's tense out there, and they're giving it everything, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. The track is almost too good. You get on the racing line, and it's pretty difficult to overtake at this moment. I think it will develop as the evening goes on, but you're right, Kenneth Pierre, he's a tough customer. Riding really well for the Aces this year, Kenneth Pierre, doing a really good job. Masters was just wonderful in his opening ride, just cleared off out in front. Worrell will be hoping for a little bit more speed, Nigel. He hasn't been quite as fast as he normally is here. So from gate 4, not easy from there.
Peter Adams, the Wolves manager, watching on. This is heat number 6. Great start from Sam Masters. Masters has got that lead now. Pierre has got second spot because he's taken Ellis Perks out wide. Now what can Steve Worrell do in blue? You would expect Worrell to get the better of Perks around this track, but it's the lead with Sam Masters right now, but Pierre's coming on strong as well. Kenneth Pierre is really on the pace, pushing Sam Masters every bit of the way. Perks having a go and Worrell's going backwards.
Yeah, that's not worked out changing the bike. Probably forced to change the bike with the problems with the forks on his first one. Ellis Perks is riding strongly in first. Masters again, looking good out in front, clearly enjoying himself. Kenneth Pierre working hard. Another heat advantage on the card for the Wolves. They're battling back. This is going to get it all very tight. I think it'll square it up in truth. Masters out in front, into the last lap. The Australian riding brilliantly tonight.
Yep, this is going to be the first race advantage that Wolverhampton are going to get here this evening. We have had 4 shared heats and a 5-1 so far for Bellevue. This is more like it for Wolverhampton, and that is superb from the Wolverhampton side. That just gets it ever closer here now. Heat number 6, and just 2 points separate these sides, and that's exactly as we thought that it would pan out, although you would have thought that Stevie Worrell, on paper at least, you would have put him down to get the better of Ellis Perks, with the greatest of respect to Ellis Perks, who tonight now has picked up 3 points from 2 rides and he's done his job brilliantly. But what about that man, Sam Masters? Simply superb. 6 points out of 6 and under serious pressure from Kenneth Pierre on that occasion, but he's done his job superbly. It's a 4-2 to Wolverhampton. It's Bellevue 19, Wolverhampton 17, just 2 points in it, and 6 races gone now, Kel.
Yeah, good speedway again. Sam Masters unbeaten so far. God, that was a terrific start from Masters. Dropped the start, dropped the clutch, excuse me, absolutely spot on. Kenneth Pierre then chopping to the inside, but got to say that Ellis Perks, as you've just rightly informed everybody, has ridden really well this evening and has picked up valuable points. And then so it proved here. He's there with his teammate, but initially, but Pierre on the inside just hustles through into second place. Worrell was disappointing. He'll be concerned about that. He'll be looking for some more speed. But Sam Masters out in front. You can just sense by the body language, the relaxed style there of the Australian out in front. Clearly enjoying riding at the National Speedway Stadium tonight.
Yeah, loving the conditions, loving the shape of the track as well. It really clearly suits him. To be fair, he's an all-round rider now. He rides at Wolverhampton and Edinburgh, which are small tracks, but looking equally at home around here as well. He's the complete package now, isn't he?
When he first came to Britain, he looked like a rider that would only actually really ride a big track, but as you know, riding at Edinburgh and Monmouth Green has been ideal for him, and he's really grown as a rider. And on his night, he's world class.
Very much so. We await news on heat number 7 because somebody needs to replace Craig Cook in red for Bellevue and Jakob Torschel in yellow for Wolverhampton. I just wonder if we are seeing 2 on the trot. In fact, Rowan Tungate, the big guns are coming in here, Kelv. It's Rowan Tungate for Craig Cook and Freddie Lindgren for Jakob Torschel. Now, this is where team management comes into play when you are covering for injured riders, because you can only bring them in once, 1 per rider, and it's an important phase of the meeting when there's only 2 points in it. The team manager's looking to get it right.
Absolutely. And Freddie Lindgren's got to go off the outside again. He won't be too pleased with that. I presume he's going from the outside. I think I've got that right. He'll go from gate 4.
Schlein off 2, yeah.
And it's Bewley off 3. And we've got Rowan Tungate going from the inside. So this is a really competitive lineup. Schlein, who battled hard but got out-battled for a 5-1. The Australians got him. And he rode his in the British final, of course, here.
Rode well as well, Kel.
He did. He could have won it. Yeah. And he rode very strongly. Got to the final. But Freddie Lindgren now, can he repay the compliment? It's Act 2, as it were, really, isn't it, between Tungate and Lindgren. They put on quite a show just a couple of heats ago. And Lindgren will be fired up to try and get to the front again this time.
Good meeting, this. 1917. Bellevue Aces, their home side, lead Wolverhampton. Both in the playoff picture. Top 2 in the league. Tungate off the inside. Schlein off 2. Bewley off 3 for the Aces. Lindgren off the outside for the Wolves. In for Torshäll here.
I think Freddie Lindgren could do with Schlein making a real good start from gate 2, Nigel, and just squeezing Tungate on the run to the first corner and stopping that run, because he is the danger man. Bewley, although, is also very useful away from the tapes. This is quite an intriguing lineup, this, and it could go either way, but there's no doubt that with just the 2 points between the two teams, this is a really quite a crunch race, even at this early stage.
Well, we had a last heat decider last Monday at Leicester. Will it happen again here tonight? This is a big heat, number 7. Let's go up. Bellevue made a beauty. Lindgren now is going to try to chop up the inside, but look at this from the Bellevue boys. Tungate in red, and the brilliant youngster Dan Bewley is beating the Grand Prix star Freddie Lindgren and Rory Schlein right now. It looks as though Bellevue are set there here, but Schlein's having a go at Bewley. He's like a rocket, the youngster.
Dan Bewley riding fabulously out in front, made a great start, is really enjoying himself. Tungate having the best night for the Aces so far. Schlein in third now. Freddie Lindgren coming up the inside to force his way through into third place, but Dan Bewley, the youngster, is looking fabulous out in front.
Well, this is so unusual to see a reserve beating a number 1. Dan Bewley, who rides in the 3rd division, the development league in this country, is beating a Grand Prix star here. Can Tungate hold Lindgren out for a Bellevue maximum, their 2nd of the night? Yes, he can! That is a moment Dan Bewley will remember for a long, long time. Brilliant youngster, Dan Bewley, and 2nd place, Rowan Tungate. Wonderful, wonderful speedway from the Bellevue boys, who put Wolves to the sword in Heat 7 and moved 6 points up.
Wow, what a ride. Fantastic stuff from Dan Bewley. We did talk about him at the beginning of the programme, that he's got a big future. I've seen him ride on several occasions now. I really like what I see. And he performed brilliantly there. Plenty of speed in that bike. Rowan Tungate riding superbly well tonight as well. And that was quite a big blow there. There's no doubt that in this tough night of Speedway in the Premiership, a 5-1 in heat number 7 is what the Aces will, well, the Aces will be delighted with it.
Very much so. Dan Bewley from Rowan Tungate from Freddie Lindgren. It's a 5-1 to the Aces, who lead the Wolves now by 24 points to 18. 6 points the gap. And again, a result that you perhaps wouldn't have predicted when you looked at your programme before the race.
No, absolutely not. And Dan Bewley rides so well here. He makes a good start, goes wide. But look at that, that's the rider of a lot of confidence there in the blue helmet colour. We'll see it again from the tapes. It's a pretty even split. Rowan Tungate gets there off the inside. And the young Bewley there, he ran wide in the first corner, but look at the speed he's got. He absolutely flew down that back straight. Freddie Lindgren rode really hard in 3rd place. He had to work really hard just for one solitary point, but the Bellevue pairing here, they were really chuffed, and for Dan Bewley, backed up by the impressive Tungate tonight, there's no doubt that Mark Lemon will be delighted. Stevie Lawson there on the right of Dan Bewley, and that's the sort of ride that, I tell you what, he's got a bright future, that lad.
Yep, very much so. It's good to see. Dan Bewley was so quick down that back straight, where he got that speed from, coming off the banking, I think. Brilliant. Coming out of turn 2.
Absolutely.
Used it beautifully. I can tell you as well that Ellis Perks will replace Nathan Greaves in heat number 8. Perks coming in as a reserve substitute for Nathan Greaves for Wolverhampton in heat number 8.
Good move that. Perks has ridden strongly tonight, and there's no doubt that he looks like he's got plenty of speed. Ben Barker was better last time, so he's out here as well. Stevie Worrell and Jack Smith are the 2 programmed riders. It'll be interesting to see if Mark Lemon makes a change, but possibly not. Dan Bewley could take that ride, but I think he'll probably stick with Jack Smith, who was much improved last time. Here's Stevie Worrell just having some last-minute tweaks to his clutch. They'll be hoping that he can find a bit of speed. He's been a little bit below par tonight, Steve. Captains the team, but interesting to see what bike that is, whether that's the original one with the forks changed, or he's sticking with his we are hearing it is his 2nd bike, so I'm sure they must have made some adjustments, because he wasn't on the pace last time, and Worrell knows this place and rides this place really well, and if he kicks into gear, then Wolves are going to be really up against it.
Yes, very much so. And a lot of pressure here for Wolverhampton on Ben Barker again. They are 6 points down. If they concede another 5-1, they'll be 10 down. Bellevue looking to just keep them at bay, at arm's length. Jack Smith off the inside in blue for the Aces. Gate 2 in yellow, Ellis Perks for Wolverhampton, a replacement for Nathan Greaves. Stevie Worrell goes off gate 3 in red, and Ben Barker off the outside in white. Guest replacement tonight for Wolverhampton, and he's going off the outside gate, and they need him here.
They do, but the outside gate is no easy call. It's a long way there, and you have to go across the racing line. It's a little greasy. You need to do something a bit spectacular in the first corner. The Aces have got the advantage in my book here with gates 1 and 3. They could extend their lead here. Perks on gate 2 is looking good. We can see the racing line there. You have to come across that from gate 4. You initially get dry, but then it goes a little greasy, and you can then actually lose momentum on the run to the first corner. Barker's going to have to possibly do something a bit spectacular in that first
Here we go then, heat number 8, 24-18, Bellevue leading here. And it's a good start from Jack Smith. Now the Wolverhampton rider in white, Ben Barker, has been squeezed down, and Bellevue have come through. Now Barker's going to have a big run up the inside. Can Bellevue get a 5-1 here? The leader is Stevie Worrell. Jack Smith is second right now. This would put Wolverhampton in tactical territory, because they would be 10 points down after heat number 8 if it stays like this. But Barker's taking up the running, and Barker is going to try and get past Jack Smith in second spot.
He certainly is, but Worrell is away. Oh, looks like he's found some speed now. Look at him go, he's absolutely flying in front, though he's trying very hard. Jack Smith walking up, it's going to get tight now, guys. Yes, Barker through. Barker, that's a hard-working ride from him. They needed that, just a bit of a damage limitation ride there for the Wolves, but Worrell, look how fast he is this time.
Crowd are loving this, the Bellevue contingent especially. It's good stuff from Worrell. Barker comes through, and third in blue there was Jack Smith. What that does, though, with Barker passing Jack Smith, it keeps the deficit to 8 points, and it denies Wolverhampton the opportunity of a tactical ride. When you're 10 or more down, you can go for double points. Wolverhampton now cannot do that, because Ben Barker has passed Jack Smith, which you would expect him to do. Of course, you would expect him to do that. And the lead is now 8 points for Bellevue. And I would say Mark Lemon, the Bellevue manager, will be chuffed to bits.
Absolutely, because it's a frustrating scenario for the Wolves. They can make no changes, apart from reserve changes. But Steve Worrell that time was back to his best. That's what we expect to see from Worrell here. And he was flying in front.
Yep, Stevie Worrell the winner, back to his best. Ben Barker was second, third was Jack Smith. It's a 4-2, and Bellevue lead the Wolves now by 28 points to 20.
Yeah, good stuff initially from the inside from Smith. It's nip and tuck between Ellis Perks. The outside gate is tough. Barker getting forced wide and a little bit out of shape. Worrell comes roaring around the outside, and whatever they did in the pits in between the last ride and this, it clearly works, because he absolutely was flying in front, and they don't really see which way he went. It was a hard race here. Ben Barker has to work hard up the inside, just there. That was the key moment. Just momentarily, Jack Smith locked up, and on these big, fast corners, you can ill afford to do that. Just killed his momentum, and Barker slipped up the inside. Smith then gave chase, but Barker, he's a tenacious man. He's always giving 100%. And that was a useful second place for him and the Wolves. But that man there, captain of the Aces this evening, that's much more like it.
Very much so, and that bodes well for Bellevue. They're starting to look like a more all-round side here tonight. Can the Wolves bounce back in Heat 9? They've got the unbeaten Sam Masters out in that one, and that'll be coming up after this break.
So you like to stay active and count your
8 points to 20. The Aces lead the Wolves here at the National Speedway Stadium. Peter Adams, the Wolves manager, alongside me. Only 8 points in it. The lads doing a decent job for you. And I know it's not ideal, though, for either teams to come into such a clash like this when you're not at full strength.
No, that's a bit of a blow for both of us, really. But as you say, you know, we're only halfway through the meeting. A long way to go yet. And very unpredictable track this, you know. So we're not out of it by any means.
4 meetings in 7 days. Do you see this as a crucial period of the season?
It's an important week for us, of course, with 2 away matches in what's left of this week, and then an important home match against Somerset next Monday. So, yeah, we're looking to amass as many points as we can, because it's all closing up at the top, and we need to maintain our position, obviously.
And I know you're taking a well-deserved break, but you've not got a bad replacement this week in a former world champion and Wolves' favourite Sam Ermolenko.
Yeah, I'm disappearing on holiday tomorrow for a fortnight, and yeah, that'll only be I think the 5th and 6th meetings I've missed in 38 years as a team manager. So it's a proud record I have there, but it's going to be severely blemished tomorrow. But yeah, Sam's going to step in and look after the team for us, and I'm sure he'll do a great job.
I'm sure he will do a great job. Thank you very much for talking to us. For now, we'll speak to you a bit later. Let's get back to Kelvin and Nigel.
Thank you, Natalie. Peter pretty keen to get back to the pits to watch the action there. Heat number 9 coming up. Gone. Sam Masters unbeaten so far, looking very stylish along the way as well.
Yes.
2 rides and 2 wins, but he's got Max Frick and Rowan Tungate up against him here. Does look as though Nathan Greaves has come in yellow here as well. He has indeed. So Greaves comes in the yellow helmet colour as a reserves heat number 9. 28 points to 20. Tungate it is off the inside. Then it's Masters. Then it's Frick, and then it's Greaves. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to stack up against Wolverhampton here, Kel.
It is, and the gate positions also. I think Masters is going to have to come up with another strong ride here, because Frick, although he didn't score last time in gate number 3. There we are, and he just got almost sort of frightened out of it a little bit going into turn 3 with that strong move from Freddie Lindgren. Rowan Tungate on the inside has been fantastic so far this evening, but Sam Masters, you've got to think that he's the man. He needs to hit the front, and if Greaves can suddenly get involved, all the better.
Here we go with heat number 9. And Wolverhampton get back into it. Superstar from Sam Masters once again. Now what can Greaves do for the Wolves? Greaves is challenging, but also all 4 bunched up here. Sam Masters under all sorts of pressure for Wolverhampton. Greaves on the pace. Bellevue in second and third. Here comes Tungate. And Max Frick as well. 3 abreast. What a race this is. Can Masters get the drive down the banking? He's still coming on strong. He hasn't given up. What speedway we've got here at the National Stadium.
Oh, round the outside again. 3 abreast. Tungate riding brilliantly. Masters right to the outside. Look at this stuff now. Frick's going to come on stride, tight for second. Rowan Tungate has ridden out of his skin to stay in front there. Masters, who made the start initially, brilliant there, but Tungate is flying tonight into the last lap. Gotta say, Frick is working hard, but Rowan Tungate is superb.
He's the Bellevue man of the match so far, along with Dan Bewley, I would say. It's Rowan Tungate in blue. Sam Masters for Wolves second. Third is Max Frick. That was something to shout about. What a race that was. And what I like there, Kelvin, is that the 3 boys in contention left room for each other, proper racing respect, and great for the crowd to watch.
Spot on. And it was fantastic stuff. It was 3 abreast on 2 occasions as they went into the first corner. Rowan Tungate, his bike is just working fantastically well. He was able to come up the inside. Masters is in the grip, wheels in line, and Rowan Tungate out of that turn 4 was able to get up the inside as well. That's how good this National Speedway Stadium is. The track here, you see some sensational speedway.
Now, confirmation of the result, and it's a significant one. Tungate Masters Frick makes it a 4-2 to Bellevue, and it means that they are now 10 points up, 32-22. So Peter Adams now has an opportunity, the Wolves manager, to put a black and white helmet on one of his riders and nominate him for double points to try and peg this deficit back.
Interesting to see which way he goes. Great start initially from Masters. You've got Tungate on the blue helmet colour on the inside, and here comes Frick on the outside. But watch Tungate now come off this bottom corner. He has just got the bike hooked up beautifully, and it comes charging up the inside. Masters won't give in. 3 abreast into the second lap. Fabulous pictures. Look at this stuff. Masters round the outside. So brave, such high speed, and fair racing as well. Here we see it again. Off the start into the first corner. Masters showing early on, but got to say Tungate is absolutely fabulous. He gets up the inside as they start that second lap. 3 Australians, 3 abreast as they go charging down that back straight. Look at Masters, he's so intent on trying to get back to the front. Big blast around the outside, but Rowan Tungate's got the speed. And another 4-2 and a heat advantage to the Bellevue Aces, 10-point gap. But Rowan Tungate, he is having a terrific night.
Yep, significant moment in the meeting now. Great stuff from that man, Rowan Tungate. Brilliant performance from him. And great racing respect, as we said, in the, aftermath of that. And I love watching Speedway like that. It is brilliant. High speed as well. So what move, or if any, will the managers make here? The team manager for Wolverhampton, Peter Adams. Bellevue are as per programme with Kenneth Pierre and Steve Worrell.
Haven't we?
Wolverhampton have Rory Schlein, and they have to bring somebody in for Jakob Torschel, who's unavailable tonight, as a rider replacement ride. So there's Schlein, he's in the white helmet colour, so they're not putting the black and white on him.
I wonder if they might go for Masters here.
It's an interesting possibility, Kelvin, although I would say yes, that he is eligible. He is eligible, Sam Masters.
On a black and white.
Well,
strong pairing.
And they are waiting, which suggests it may be 2 on the trot for a rider.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for information to be fed through to us from the pits.
It might be tempting for Pete Adams, that. You know, Masters has been terrific so far this evening. Schlein's bike's there. You can see that number 3 on the side. Kenneth Pierre as well there in the red helmet colour, patiently waiting, but quite clearly 2 on the trot here.
Yep, must be. You are eligible. The rider above the absent rider in the averages and those below. Who will come in here? Will it be a tactical? The man to tell us, Steve Brandon.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, Peter Adams, tactical time and rider replacement time. Same man?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Sam's going particularly well today, and this has got to work, of course.
I mean, it's a wonderful facility here and a wonderful racetrack, but everyone has to be on their game to get points at Bellevue.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. You know, I mean, they're sharper at the start today than us for sure, and they're a bit faster on the track. But that can change, you know, and let's hope it does here.
As we look at it now, 10 points down with 5 to go, would you take a point going home tonight?
Well, we're after all 3, and that's what we came for, so I'll talk to you later.
Oh, it's a silly question, but I'll let you go. Thanks for your time.
Well, he's an ambitious man. Absolutely, and that's why he's a winner. He has a determination, and his teams reflect that. He's been hugely successful. I do think the gates have gone against them in recent races.
Yes.
They've had gates 2 and 4 a lot, and 1 and 3 are an advantage at this track. And they've got 2 and 4 here. They've got Masters coming off gate 2 in the black and white helmet colour, and Schlein will have to do something pretty good from the outside because they're up against Pierre and Worrell. Pierre's fast, and on the evidence of Steve Worrell's last ride, he won in fine style. So this is crunch time. This is really the last throw of the dice. If Wolves are going to win this meeting, they need to get probably something like a 7-2, I think, at least.
No easy task against Kenneth Biar and Stevie Worrell.
No, exactly.
They need Schlein to come to the party after scoring only 1 point so far.
Yeah.
But we know he likes this track. He has had good meetings here. So, like you say, I'd agree, it is the last throw of the dice. With 6 races remaining, time will start to run out for Wolverhampton, so they really do need to get something from this heat number 10. Just a reminder, in the black and white helmet colour is Sam Masters. He's not out on the track yet. He will be the last man to come out because it's a second successive ride, so at the referee's discretion, he allows more time for us. Second successive ride. Masters, there he is in the black and white helmet, and I can tell you that any points he scores against a Bellevue rider, he has to beat a Bellevue rider to score double points.
Spot on, and here he comes now. He bursts out onto the track and he's making his way round. He's ridden very well indeed. He's got 8 points out of a possible 9. Just the flying Rowan Tungate tonight has been beating him. And he has
I like
been...
the sound of flying Ryan as
so
well.
do I, yeah,
something back to Ryan Sullivan days.
Absolutely, yeah. He would have flown round here, there's no doubt about that. He would have been quite useful. But there's no doubt that Sam Masters himself has been decent this evening. But I do think gates 2 and 4 are quite a challenge this evening here.
Yep, Stevie Worrell off the inside, Sam Masters going off gate 2, Kenneth Bier going off gate number 3, and off the outside it is that man Rory Schlein Had a good British final here, but this is where Wolverhampton need to make some inroads. I agree with you, Kel. They need the man in the black and white to win the race, and maybe Schlein to get a third place to post a 7-2, and that would immediately slash the deficit by half.
Yeah, exactly that. And, you know, Schlein, he's an experienced rider now these days, and he knows what it takes. He's changed his bike here. He's gone for a spare one. He's looking for more speed. He's parked up right against the fence. Big race this for Wolverhampton.
Yes, seat number 10. Here we go. Great start from Worrell off the inside gate. Masters is there as well. Now Masters is going to try to chop up the inside. Schlein's in the mix as well. Masters has come through. The tactical ride has the lead. It's 6 points for Masters if it stays like this, but look at Pierre. Kenneth Pierre in red. What a ride for Pierre. And there's a battle between Worrell and Schlein as well. Masters high into the dirt again. Is he going to come round? Oh, what a race we've got.
Fabulous ride again from Masters. Masters now dropping back down to the inside. Kenneth Pierre is fast in second place. Yeah, now switching to the outside. Schleins at the back. That's disappointment for him. 6 points for Masters if he can stay there. He is riding out of his skin tonight. Pierre, Worrell in second and third, and Schlein is now becoming detached. 1 lap to go for Masters.
Yep, this won't be enough for Wolverhampton, you feel. They're going to have 5 races left, and the deficit will be 7. Schlein just doesn't look to have the... Peter Adams shakes his head because he knows that his other rider in that heat, Rory Schlein, failed to deliver the goods. Just doesn't seem to have the speed. No doubting Rory Schlein's ability, but it's just the speed. Doesn't seem to have it tonight. It's a 6-3 to the Wolves, 35 to Bellevue, and 29 even to the home side, the visitors. So Sam Masters, they won a 6 points for him. Kenneth Pierre in second place. Stevie Worrell was third there. And a 6-3, as we say, in favour of the Wolverhampton Wolves. 35-28 the score now in favour of Bellevue. They have a 7-point cushion, and I reckon they'll be pretty happy with that.
Absolutely, it could have been worse. If Schlein really had come to the party here, it could have been game on. As a consequence, he just didn't quite have the speed here, Rory Schlein, and he'll be frustrated with that. He hasn't had a great night. Sam Masters, on the other hand, is enjoying a terrific night at Speedway. He had to ride really strongly here because Kenneth Pierre was able to ride the inside line, and he momentarily was in front, and Masters had to respond, had to ride a little bit more defensively on the inside. Pierre then switched to the outside, but he just couldn't get the better of the Australian. The Australian looks really accomplished around this track, and the big 6 points goes to him. But 35-28, there's work to be done still for the Wolves boys.
Well, if Wolves lose the meeting, they'll be looking to lose by 6 or less. I know Peter Adams said we'll come here to win. Quite right, but if they're going to lose by 6 or less and get a bonus point, if you like, a consolation league point. What a meeting here, some great speedway. 10 here in Manchester.
Freddie Lindgren is a man on a mission as he returns to home soil.
The Wolves at 28, so 7 points the difference. And with me is Bellevue's number 4, Rowan Tungate. Rowan, it was clear why Mark Lemon brought you into the Aces, because the Bellevue Aces fans had seen the performances that you've been putting in for other teams. It hadn't quite happened really until tonight. 10 points so far, so what's the difference?
I'm not really sure. I had a few problems to start with the engines, and then I come back to Bellevue, and I still felt that not everything was 100%. So I went back and got a few things changed, and tonight I bring a Polish engine back, and I done a start on it, and I didn't feel 100%. So I went back to the English engine, and it seems to be okay now. So I'm pretty happy about that.
We've seen some great team riding from you tonight, constantly looking for your teammates. This is only your 5th meeting with Bellevue, but do you feel a little bit more settled now with the team?
Yeah, definitely. First, it's a lot of pressure, I think, when you first come into a team, and they probably expected a lot from me because I've had some really good meetings here, but no, I'm glad now that I've found a good setup, and yeah, it's good for the playoffs and that, and hopefully I can continue the form.
Yeah, I'm sure the Aces fans will be delighted with your performance tonight. Let's get back to racing then. Here's Calvin and Nigel.
Playing out yes, Kenneth Belle goes in the red helmet, but that youngster, Dan Bewley, out here again in the blue helmet colour. 2 rides, 2 wins. Dynamite Dan Bewley, Kel.
Brilliant. Brilliant. He is dynamite tonight, Nigel. He has been sensational, and he beat Freddie Lindgren in his previous ride. Can he do it again? He goes from gate 4, won't be easy, but his form so far has been terrific, and he's had a lot of speed. Lindgren on the inside, Barker on gate 3, massive race for the Wolves. Kenneth Belle coming in as the rider replacement. Once again, a very tense race in prospect. Brilliant night of speedway we're witnessing.
We are indeed. Heat number 11, it's Freddie Lindgren off the inside in white. Kenneth Belle in for Craig Cook off gate 2. Ben Barker, gate 3, yellow for the Wolves. Dan Bewley, can he be beaten here? Goes off the outside in the blue helmet colour, and you know, during that short gap, Steve Lawson, the advisor to Dan Bewley, came out here from the pits and went over to gate 4 to take a look at the condition of gate 4, clearly reporting back to his man the conditions and any advice that he's got for him.
Absolutely, and that's the sort of effort that's going into Dan Bewley, and that's great. Steve Lawson, a hero, of course, for the Glasgow Tigers. Fantastic performance in that there. Here we go, another big heat in prospect.
It is indeed heat number 11, and Belle's made a beauty. Kenneth Belle got the drop from gate number 2 brilliantly there. Freddie Lindgren is second right now. Third in yellow black is Ben Barker, but watch out for Bewley. Bewley is now going into the drive around the outside once again. It's Barker and Lindgren holding second and third. Bewley's not done yet. The lead is with Belle, but look at Dan Bewley. He's halfway to the Etihad Stadium going into that turn there. He's still coming on strong.
He is indeed. He's around the outside. Belle's away here. Made a great start from the inside. Now pretty much left his authority on second place. Dan Bewley round that bottom corner. Here he comes. So Ben Barker, credit to him. He's hanging on in third place. Big tussle for third. But Kenneth Belle, rider replacement, flying in front. Here goes Bewley. What a move from Bewley. Barker's back. Oh, bit of disappointment.
Oh, what a shame. He'd done some brilliant work to pass Ben Barker. Just as Barker was passing him back and returning in the compliment, Bewley packs up. Belle wins the race though. Still a 7-point gap between these two sides, with 4 heats to go now, and that does mean that Wolverhampton are still in touching distance, not just perhaps of a consolation point, but even of the win. But Bellevue are riding magnificently here tonight. That man will be very proud of his side, because it's a strong Wolverhampton outfit they're facing here tonight. And you've got to feel some sympathy for Dan Bewley there. That was a brilliant effort. The way he went so high and wide.
Brave, wasn't it?
Eastwards, towards Manchester City's ground. Kenneth Belle, Freddie Lindgren, Ben Barker and Dan Bewley who packed up. It was a 3-all. And that means that it's 38 points to 31 in favour of the Bellevue Aces. Good ride from Belle.
Yeah, and he made a great start. It looked like Freddie Lindgren spun up on the initially from the inside. Dan Bewley on the outside, much more difficult from there. And Kenneth Belle there, round that first corner. Textbook stuff from him. Bewley coming on strong. Credit to Ben Barker though. Tenacious ride again from him. He's hanging on in there. Freddie Lindgren just doesn't quite look quick enough at the moment to win races. He's working ever so hard, but Kenneth Belle's got more speed and he pulled away. Here we see Dan Bewley, very stylish around the outside. But Barker, tough customer in third place, makes the youngster work very hard. And just when he got himself momentarily into third place, pop, the bike stops there, and that is bitterly disappointing for him. He'll be gutted with that. We'll see it again, just rode beautifully to cut back to the inside, and just there, I don't know what's gone wrong, but quite clearly the motor has packed up.
Yeah, what a shame for Dan Bewley. 38-31 the scoreline here in Manchester tonight then. I can tell you that Leicester are comfortably leading Kings Lynn Stars, a very badly depleted Kings Lynn side. But then again, Leicester without Pavel Szpelski, who had an operation. If you were with us last week and you watched our meeting from Leicester and you saw the young Polish rider go wide and into the air fence at Leicester in high speed, he did suffer a break to the fibula, has had an operation but hopes to be back in 2 to 3 weeks, Pavel Szpelski.
Wow.
And we wish him all the very best for that. We build up to heat number 12 here. 38-31, Max Frick and Jack Smith, Rory Schlein and Ellis Perks for Wolverhampton. Wolves still just about hanging on in there.
They are by their fingertips, I would think. and they need this man Schlein to come good now. He's had a really disappointing night by his own very high standards. He's just got 1 point for 3 outings, and you would have expected well, when he was signed, he came into this side and has been really good for them. Mark Riss and Schlein came in earlier on in the year, and they turned the fortunes around. There's no doubt about that, but he's found it hard going tonight. He's got gate 3 this time, and I think that if he could just get himself away well, Schlein could get himself amongst the points.
Yep, Ellis Perks off the inside, Max Frick off 2, Rory Schlein gate 3. Jack Smith going off the outside, heat number 12. A busy spell for the Wolves. They go to Kings Lynn on Wednesday at the Adrian Flux Arena, and big night for Kings Lynn to try and bounce back after their recent troubles. Wolverhampton, can they cash in and get an away win on Wednesday? What will they get from Bellevue here tonight? The Aces, tremendous performance from Rowan Tungate on a 4.77 average, 10+1 from 4 rides.
Remarkable.
But he's not in this one. I suspect we may see him in the next 2, heats 13 and 14. However, maybe as a replacement for Cook in blue in heat 13, perhaps, under the rider replacement facility. Taking her time to settle down here.
Yeah, plenty of gardening going on there by Ellis Perks. He's ridden strongly for the Wolves this evening, and he wants to try and get away really sharpish from that inside gate. Frick has done well this evening, and there's no doubt that Schlein coming out of gate 3 is a key man for the Wolves here. He knows how to win, he rides this place well, needs a big ride.
Yep, here we go with heat number 12. 38-31 the scoreline. Great start for Bellevue with Max Frick there, but Schlein comes around the outside. Nicely done from Rory Schlein. Now, if Perks can hang on for 3rd, but he's under serious pressure here from Jack Smith for Bellevue. Perks comes up the inside. Ellis Perks to Wolverhampton, challenging hard after Max Frick. This would be a 4-2 to Wolverhampton, and the gap would be narrowed to 5 points with 3 heats to go.
Yeah, good ride here from Schlein. Tight in the first corner, and all of a sudden we're beginning to see the sort of rider that Schlein is. He's had all sorts of issues, I'm sure, set-up-wise this evening, but now when it really mattered, when his team really needed it, Schlein is coming up with a really strong ride because Frick has been quick earlier on. Ellis Perks, you know, in 3rd place, is riding strongly here. Very useful performance from him. Jack Smith is out-battled, but Rory Schlein, this is more like it from him.
Yep, Schlein riding beautifully here. 2nd place is Max Frick, 3rd Ellis Perks. It looks like it's going to be a 4-2 to the Wolves.
Yeah.
And this is going to close that gap to 5 points now. So Mark Lemon and his boys know that there's still a little bit of work to do here. Good ride from Perks, as you said, Kelvin. That was an important 3rd place. He's done his job well for Wolverhampton tonight.
Yes.
But Mark Lemon just studied his race card there, studying his race card, knowing that there's still just a little bit of work to do to get over the line. Those Wolves won't stop howling.
No, they won't. And certainly Rory Schlein found his howl there, didn't he? He came away with a really good ride. The bike pulled really hard to the first corner. He didn't drop the clutch bang on, but the bike performed brilliantly there.
Yeah, 4-2 to Wolverhampton. It's now Bellevue Aces 40, Wolverhampton Wolves 35 with only 3 heats to go.
Yeah, good speedway meeting this, and Rory Schlein hits that first corner in front and gets his wheels in line. Max Frick in 2nd, and a good ride from Perks again. Certainly there, when the bike really needed to drive hard, it does, and he gets the better of Max. He's had a disappointing time. Probably we won't see him again, but he has finished with 3 points and a very valuable win, giving his team half a chance of a victory here this evening. Schlein in front, much more like it from the Australian.
Yeah, much more like it. Rory Schlein, 4 points from 4 rides. So we have 3 heats to go. Will we see Tungate out in blue? Unbeaten so far. We have to, surely. Absolutely. Good crowd here tonight at the National Speedway Stadium. Over to you. Other sports, enjoying the action of Speedway here. We saw at the British final Isle of Man TT legend John McGuinness, who I know was in Cardiff at the weekend as well, despite his recent treatment on the leg injury that he had in the build-up to the TT. So John McGuinness enjoying his Speedway, I know that for sure. By the way, Heat 13, it will be Max Frick rider replacement, because Rowan Tungate was used in Heat 7, so cannot be used. So it's Max Frick going in blue in Heat 13. So that is for the Bellevue Aces replacing Craig Cook. The man in blue is Max Frick with Kenneth Pierre in red. And for Wolverhampton, Freddie Lindgren and Sam Masters. This is some tasty race, Kel.
Yeah, it's all building up very nicely, and Wolves haven't thrown the towel in. Pete Adams said they've come here to win, and quite clearly, they, although they slipped to 10 points behind, they haven't allowed themselves to get down. Masters has ridden brilliantly for the Wolves this evening. Just dropped the 1 point so far. Freddie Lindgren has ridden hard, but just seems a little bit off the pace, but who knows, he might be able to produce it now. Kenneth Belle on the inside. Then we're looking at Freddie Lindgren just having a last few tweaks, a bit of chain lube on the front primary chain. He now makes his way hurriedly round to the start line, but this is another terrific racing prospect. Masters, who is on the outside here, has ridden really well, and Frick coming in to replace Cook. Heat 13, this is another great lineup.
It is indeed. It's Kenneth Pierre going off the inside with Freddie Lindgren off 2. Max Frick goes off gate number 3 for Bellevue as rider replacement for Craig Cook. And Sam Masters going off the outside in yellow and black. Heat 13. Just a reminder, we were suggesting Tungate would be the man, but they've already used him in Heat 7, of course. Mark Lemon, more in control of his programme than I am, it appears.
And I thought that Tungate hadn't ridden, but you're absolutely right. I'm sure that Mark Lemon would like to have used him again because he's been in sparkling form, but he can't do, so it's the responsibility of the under-21 world champion to come in here.
Just trying to work out whether your handwriting's worse than mine, Kel.
I should have been a doctor, Nigel. My handwriting's that bad. I can't even read it myself, but there's no doubt that it is Frick, because I can recognise the rider in front of me, not my own writing. Here we go, Heat 13. Here we go.
Yeah, Heat 13 it is then. 40 points to 35. Big race coming up. Wolves in the white and yellow and black helmet colours. Need points here to yellow and black helmet colours. Need points here. Pierre has made one of his trademark starts, and Lindgren will try and take Frick to the fence. Is there any way that Sam Masters come through here to keep Wolves interested? Frick is going wide. Wonderful ride from Max Frick. The lead is with Kenneth Pierre. This will surely put it to bed if it stays like this. Pierre's got to look over his shoulder. Pierre's got to look over and realise that it's his teammate here. And Bellevue are absolutely flying, but Pierre needs to look, Kel.
He does indeed. Frick is riding strongly. How wide has he gone? He finally looks at him and suddenly realises his teammate. Frick had to work really hard there. He looked at him twice, almost shocked to see his teammate as he came out of the bottom corner. Oh my goodness, Frick very nearly threw it away there. There's a lap to go, and the Bellevue Aces looking like they're going to secure a victory tonight.
Well, here they go down the back straight. Pierre looking over his shoulder. He's done it, some team riding here eventually, but they've won it comfortably. That is wonderful from Bellevue. Max Frick and Kenneth Pierre, Lindgren trailing in at the back. Masters gets a 3rd place, and that is a huge, huge 5-1 now. 45 points to 36, 9-point gap, and if all 4 riders stay on their bikes in the last 2 heats, the best Wolves can do is peg it back with 2 5-1s and lose by a point. So we should be saying, we should be looking at a home win for Bellevue after that race.
Pretty much done now, I think. Kenneth Pierre, you know, he made Max Frick work really hard there. Even when he looked at him, he still kept it really on and never really gave him that much racing room.
Yep, Frick the winner with Pierre 2nd, and Sam Masters was 3rd in heat number 13. That was so quick, and yeah, I think they're just having a little giggle with each other, but I was a little bit concerned early on that Kenneth wasn't looking, and
he wasn't.
May have caught.
Brilliant start from Kenneth Pierre, and Max Frick had to work very hard indeed, but seeing Freddie Lindgren now coming away from gate 2, Lindgren just has suffered with a bit of loss of speed here this evening, no lack of effort, but the bike just doesn't look like it's quite quick enough. Sam Masters drops points for the first time tonight, or the second time. Look at this Max Frick. Seeing here now with Kenneth Bier, suddenly realises he looks again, he said, crikey, oh, it's my teammate. I thought it was the opposition. But even then, he makes Max Frick work very hard. Frick is very spectacular here. Comes charging around the outside, and they really do look good. Even when there is an overtaking here, the speed of the bikes, oh, he very nearly got it wrong there. Had to hang on to the bike, and Freddie Lindgren out the back. But Max Frick coming good in the rider replacement ride. And to all intents and purposes, the Aces have won this meeting.
Yeah, some great stuff tonight.
Brilliant.
Even when perhaps we've seen more passing in meetings, I think we said during the one of the breaks there, Kelv, it's always a pleasure to come here and see these riders feeling that they're feeling confident with the track. They're trusting each other, they're leaving some racing room, and they're super quick. It's great to be here, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and as you rightly say, even when there isn't overtaking, the track is a little slicker than when we were here for the British final, and I think that's the reason there hasn't been quite as much overtaking, but nonetheless the action has been really exciting. And, the Bellevue Aces have come under pressure, but they've responded well. But there's no doubt that the Wolves will keep battling, because they'll want a league point here.
They will indeed. A point still very much on the line. So Schlein is the rider replacement for Torschel, and Perks is in for Greaves here. So a couple of changes in the Wolves programme. Schlein is the man off the inside. Gate 2 blue is Dan Bewley. Gate 3 yellow and black is Ellis Perks. And off the outside in red is Rowan Tungate, who has been absolutely wonderful so far tonight. He's got 10+2 from 4 rides. Has been simply superb, and that for a rider with a 4.77 average. Goodness me.
That doesn't make sense, does it? You know, he must be better than that. The problem is he had a poor start to the season at Somerset, was released by them, and then has been picked up by the Aces. Started slowly. He said that he had some issues with the engines. He's quite clearly got those resolved tonight. And this is the Rowan Tungate that they wanted to sign, and he's come good tonight up against the champions.
Yes, very much so. Heat 14 it is. So can Schlein and Perks make inroads and give Wolverhampton hope of a point at least here? Peter Adams, the manager, watching on. Penultimate race of the night. Here we go. It's a good start from Schlein from gate number 1. Perks is in the mix early on, but the Bellevue boys challenging hard now. Perks is battling in third. Oh, I thought there was going to be a collision down the back straight there as Tungate. Now he's coming through on the inside and piling the pressure on Rory Schlein. And Bewley's coming through as well. Bellevue turning on the style. Schlein is being beaten up here. Down the back straight, he's got to get off the gas.
Wow, what a first lap that was from Rowan Tungate. Dan Bewley as well up the inside, riding brilliantly here. Whatever issue he had last time, he's resolved it, and he's out in front. There's a fire on Perks' bike. Oh my goodness gracious me, he's had to get off the bike and onto the infield. Oh, that's drama in the extreme. Out in front, lovely. Rowan Tungate is leading the way. Oh, they need finally a fire extinguisher's come. Tungate, brilliant out in front.
Yep, it's going to be a 5-1 to Bellevue. All over now with 1 race to go. My goodness me.
Wow.
And
haven't seen that too often, have we? A bike on fire. Literally on fire as it went into the first corner.
Yes.
And crikey, that was really alarming. I apologise if I took my attention away from the race, but I had some concerns for Ellis Perk there.
Well, you've got to feel for the lad.
Wow.
That was a serious issue at one moment.
It was
there.
indeed.
A fire on the bike as the race continued. That was a major concern. The fire extinguishers came out pretty quickly there. But that is...
Very rarely does a bike catch on fire like that. Methanol actually burns like methylated spirits. It's difficult to see it on fire. It must have then caught the cover on fire, the actual Kevlar cover around it. Oh, drama there.
Yeah, and it taking the shine, if you like, off the Bellevue boys there.
Yes.
Tungate and Bewley, brilliant over Schlein. 5-1, 50 points to 37 is the score with 1 race to go. So we now know that the Bellevue Aces are going to claim maximum points tonight. And Wolverhampton will go away empty-handed from the National Stadium this evening.
Well, it was very exciting stuff initially with the racing. because Rory Sline, having won previously, made a really good fist of it initially, but Rowan Tungate is riding so well tonight. Fight comes up the inside here and he gets the better of the Australian, and Rory Sline had to shut the throttle, and Dan Bewley then gets in amongst it. He comes up the inside, but look at this is serious stuff. Looks like there could be an oil leak there, and the oil's got caught on, and that's fuel, literally fuel. It must have been a fuel pipe split or something. Literally looked like fuel was running all over the engine, and Ellis Perks quite clearly distraught. That's going to be very costly for the youngster.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Kelf. And a rider like Ellis Perks, I know, is on a very, very tough budget. That is going to be a crushing blow to Ellis Perks and his racing team.
It looked like the fuel was just literally pouring out of the tank.
Yeah.
Whether the tanker split or whether the fuel line actually came away from the carburetor, and it was just literally running all over the engine. Drama anyway.
So, with one race to go, let's head down to Natalie now.
So an expensive night maybe for Ellis Perks, but thankfully and most importantly he was able to get off that unharmed. One heat to go, as we say, and we've got more two-wheeled action coming up on BT Sports as the MotoGP resumes after their summer break, and it is the Grand Prix of the Czech Republic, and our coverage starts on Friday the 4th of August from 8 AM on BT Sport 2 HD. Heat 15 is coming up from the National Speedway Stadium after this break.
Dips, you think?
Treated to another great meeting here at the National Speedway Stadium. It is 50-37 with one heat to go, so a home win for the Bellevue Aces, but as I say, heat 15 to come. So let's go to Steve Brandon, who's with our two team managers.
Just one, Natalie, the man that's going to take all the points tonight, Mark Lemon. Just quickly on the performance tonight, much better from most of the boys.
Yeah, a real, sort of focused effort tonight. Sort of maybe last week our distractions are sort of from, either the, post-World Cup, and, obviously the boys had a really big sort of build-up to that, and maybe just the edge was gone a little bit, but refocused, regrouped tonight, and, thoroughly sort of come out and did a proper job.
So your choice in Heat 15, just tell me quickly who you're using.
We're going to go with Kenneth Bier off Gate 1 in red, and Rowan Tungate. Obviously, he can hopefully finish his maximum off Gate 3 in blue.
Okay, thank you very much. And Peter Adams has told me for Wolverhampton they're going to use Sam Masters in white in Gate 2 and Frederick Lindgren in yellow and black in Gate 4. Kelvin, Nigel, or yours?
In number 15 it is. Kenneth Bier in red has been absolutely terrific tonight for the Bellevue Aces back in British Speedway, and this move he did ride for them at the old Kirkmanshire Lane track a very long time ago. Then he switched to Peterborough, and I know Bellevue at the time were disappointed that he didn't pledge his future to them, but here he is back, albeit at the new stadium.
Yeah, and he's been good for them all year, and he had a disappointing season last season, excuse me, and there's no doubt that he looks fitter. It looks like he's really refocused on Speedway, and he's enjoying a really good season for the Aces. Lindgren is coming out here in Heat 15, failed to score last time. Looks a little under speed tonight. He's tried hard, but will it be a full maximum for Rowan Tungate? Blue helmet colour, gate number 3. Tungate, a recent signing for the Aces, has been exceptional tonight.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful night for Rowan Tungate, really has. Kenneth Bier going off the inside in red for Bellevue. Gate 2, Sam Masters for Wolverhampton. Rowan Tungate, Gate 3 in blue. And Freddie Lindgren, who will be disappointed with his score tonight. He's off the outside in yellow and black. Yes, it's a Bellevue win. They are 13 up. And they have denied Wolverhampton the opportunity of any points tonight. But it has to be said that Wolves have had a go, haven't they?
Oh yeah, they've made a real fist of it. They've just run out of steam a little bit. Got to say that Bellevue really have bounced back well here. They got beaten by Swindon by some considerable margin last time here at home. So it's a much improved performance by the home team.
Here we go then, heat number 15. Oh, bit of movement to the start, and the first stoppage of the night.
Well,
the red lights are on for the first time.
Rowan Tungate there jumped the start, and I don't know if he touched the tapes. He was very, very close.
Kenneth Bier followed him. So let's see what the decision is from the referee.
Crikey.
Yeah.
Must have got close.
Ooh.
I think he's a lucky man.
I think he'll be back in.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep, he wants a maximum. He's unbeaten by an opposing rider so far. In Speedway, we call it a paid maximum, when you've actually, you're unbeaten by an opposing rider, but you haven't actually won every single one of your races. And sometimes you've finished behind your teammate, but in Speedway, you get paid for a win, and that's why we call it a paid maximum.
Absolutely.
You had a few of those, Carl, didn't you?
Yeah, I did have one or two, and Tungate is now, we're being told that he has had an official warning. But yes, if you don't have the paid point, then you won't have team riding. So you won't, will you? You know, because effectively, if your teammate's in front of you and he's going to earn more than you, you're going to try and pass him. So effectively, that bonus point enables you to then ride as a pair.
Can you remember your first maximum?
No idea.
Okay. I'm not saying I have the answer.
Somebody
find
will.
that out for next time, shall I?
I've got no idea. It might be. I couldn't tell you.
Did you score a maximum in your first year in '83 with Wimbledon?
I think I may have done. Yes.
Okay.
May have done.
So, heat number 15 coming up at the end of a dramatic night here in Manchester, but again, some fast racing. And Bellevue have been very impressive. They've done a terrific job without Craig Cook tonight.
Yeah, they needed to, didn't they? We're running out of time here, and Rowan Tungate has made some adjustments to his clutch, so maybe he'll be all right now because he's on his way. But there may have been some mitigating circumstances there, because he immediately went down to the clutch arm on the right-hand side, which is on the counter shaft, and made an adjustment to it. So possibly something wasn't quite right there, but nonetheless, they're making their way back round to the tapes.
Yeah, Masters, Tungate, Lindgren. That's how it is. Heat number 15 is coming up. And a little bit of a warning in the ear of Rowan Tungate there from the start marshal. So one last hurrah, perhaps, here in heat number 15 after some great speedway. We're back in a couple of weeks, remember. Kings Lynn. Next Grand Prix is 2 weeks on Saturday. Eric Broadbell, former Bellevue rider, watching on from the infield here. Heat number 15. England's made a reasonable start from the outside. Masters is there, but Pierre is the master of the starts tonight. He's got that advantage early on. Now here come the Wolves boys, Lindgren and Masters. Watch out for Lindgren in the yellow and black helmet colour. He's trying to get around the outside, but Pierre won't allow any room. And Pierre has got Masters on the inside. He's got Lindgren charging hard as well. Tungate's going to be denied his maximum here. Now, if Pierre wins this, he will never have worked harder for a race victory.
Tell you what, it's not done yet. And Masters coming on strong. Freddie Lindgren absolutely flying around the outside, but it isn't quite working. He's making great big long straights. He's got plenty of speed at the end of the straight. Pierre is riding well here. He's having to, because he is being chased really hard into the last lap. Tungate's going to miss out, but Kenneth Pierre is riding supremely well.
He's pulling clear now. This is a majestic performance from the former World Championship leader. He's been right up there in the past. It's Kenneth Pierre who has the last word for Bellevue. What a performance from the Danish dynamite, Kenneth Pierre. Absolutely wonderful performance from him.
Yeah.
And a 13-point victory for the Bellevue Aces on a great night.
The bike's packed up.
Yep.
You're lucky there. You only need to do 4 laps, though, and it did it. So that's handy, isn't it? Yeah. But the pocket rocket, Kenneth Pierre, brilliant tonight. Absolutely superb. And Mark Lemon will be really pleased with the performance. Rowan Tungate will be a touch disappointed in the end, because he was looking for the big 15 points tonight.
Yeah, well, Tungate's been great value. So has Sam Masters for Wolverhampton. And here we see the action at the start of heat 15 again.
Yeah, absolutely. They come roaring into the first corner, and Freddie Lindgren from the outside makes a really good fist of it initially. He's desperately trying to make that outside run work, but Kenneth Pierre has been really accomplished. He comes roaring around the inside. Masters coming at him hard there, but Pierre rides a clever line and covers that mood, and goes on to win. Rowan Tungate just missing out in the last race. He's a little disappointed with that, but Kenneth Pierre with a bike problem after the end of the race, a great night for him.
Yep, so a great result for Bellevue. It's a hugely entertaining night. Bellevue 53, Wolverhampton 40, 3 league points for the Aces, none for Wolverhampton. Let's head down to Natalie.
Thank you very much, Nigel. Lots to talk about and analyse after this meeting, and a comfortable win in the end for the Bellevue Aces. A quick reminder, we are back with our Premiership action in 2 weeks' time, Monday the 7th of August. It is Kings Lynn against Somerset, and we are live there from the Adrian Flux Arena from 7:30, and then 5 days later it's the next round of the Grand Prix. Live from Malilla, that's Saturday the 12th of August. Our build-up starts at 5:45. As lots of reaction and analysis still to come after this win here for the Bellevue Aces against their big rivals, the Wolverhampton Wolves, after this short break. National Speedway Stadium, where it's finished. The Aces 53, the Wolves 40 after 15 heats here. In the pits next to me, we have Mark Lemon and Stevie Royal, the Aces duo, and we will speak to them in just a moment. But first, Steve Brandon is with Freddie Lindgren.
Freddie, another trip to Bellevue and a 13-point defeat this time. No points going away, but still a great position in the league table.
Good position in the league table, but we really should have taken advantage of this chance we had here. But I'm not in form at the moment. I'm having a few issues, and I need to be winning heats.
Is this still something to do with the knee? Is that lingering on longer than you thought, or something different?
No, I think now we're more struggling with the equipment. I feel like I'm riding good, you know. I'm really riding hard and aggressive, but the bike underneath me don't want to do what I want to do.
But a long way to go in the season. You guys about being consistent. You're doing the right things most meetings.
Yeah, no, we have had a good season, and even though
performance that was from the Aces.
No, really good, really happy with that effort to take the Haribos and Jelly Babies off them from last week, and obviously we needed a decent result because obviously it's very stacked at that top end of the championship and the Premiership table. So it was pretty much we needed it tonight, obviously, to sort of stamp some authority and basically say that we actually are contenders.
Well, Mark Lemon was saying in his programme as well that losing wasn't an option, Steve. How much of a shock, perhaps, to the system was that meeting last week against Swindon and the defeat here?
It obviously definitely made us realise that we are beatable, and without key riders, obviously it's a tough ask, and missing Craig tonight obviously made things hard, but full credit to the guys. Everyone stepped up and did the job, and Rowan had a fantastic night. Kenneth pulled it out the bag, and now we covered for him, and now we got the win.
Yeah, super night. Obviously, you got yourself going a little bit later on. It was a slow start for you. But Mark, coming to you, you must have been a little bit concerned coming up against the champions after getting beaten last time at home. And, one or two riders possibly not, the move with Rowan in particular, he hadn't hit the ground running, no. And you signed him for his performances here, and he certainly showed what he was made of this evening.
Exactly, Calvin. We obviously, Rowan's proven the point why I chose him to come here and do this, because we know what he's capable of around this place, and he did that tonight. He hasn't been doing it, and it was a big concern, I must admit. Had I got it wrong, and there's still time to tell, but basically, the boys in the pit side, we didn't actually have the most easiest night. Obviously, it was a blow to lose Craig tonight. And Kenneth's engine didn't turn up from the plane yesterday, and just the boys, the things weren't sort of going to plan. So what they did behind the scenes was quite remarkable. Like they didn't feel, none of them really felt that great on the track, but they just worked and gritted their teeth and did a pro job.
So it inspired them to come together and really well. We've got heat number 7 because you've got a 5-1 in heat number 7, and it was nip and tuck up until that point. But there's no doubt that the boys came good here. And Steve, you can see the performance here. Certainly, this was a moment early on in the meeting where you really begin to sort of like show your true form.
No, I'm not in this one. It's Rowan and Dan.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I understand that. Yeah. Talk about your teammates.
No, like I pointed out before, Rowan, he turned it on tonight, and little Danny just keeps getting better and better every week, and he just seems to love this track because he's so small, and he just sticks it on that fence and blasts around, and you can see there that he's absolutely loving it. And Rowan's similar. He's a small guy, and get that thing in a straight line and off they go. And you see there Freddie and Rory, they're no slouches, and for them guys to get the 5-1 against them is fantastic. And that was a key point in the meeting.
Team riding was something that I'd mentioned actually to Rowan. We saw a great example of it several times tonight. And home advantage is something that I suppose it's been difficult to build up when you've got a new track and only been here for 1.5 seasons, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone loves coming to this place. It's been perfectly designed for a speedway track, for the modern speedway machine. And obviously, it's like, it's a great home track. The track's nice. Andy Merritt's doing a great job with the track staff, and obviously we had the nice sunshine today and the rain last night, so the track's perfect. But yes, it does make it very difficult when as a home track to sort of get an edge. But I think the confidence of the guys that get from here, like they have to go out and race the bike pretty hard every week, so they carry that confidence when they go on the road.
Top of the table then still you remained. You've stamped your authority there, and not just in the Premiership, but pleasing for the National League as well, because the Colts are top of the table. It's also big smiles around here.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice change. Obviously, we were here this time last year, so we're not going to get carried away because nothing's won in July. So, and obviously the Colts are doing really well in the National League, but we've got young Jack Smith. He's learning his craft, and he's slowly getting in there. And Dan Bill, he's sensational.
We'll let you go and join the rest of the team and give them a good pat on the back. Mark and Stevie, thank you very much for joining us.
Good job.
Kelvin, it is clear that these two teams tonight, even though Wolves have lost tonight, still going to be up there, aren't they, we think, at the end of the season?
Well, they are, and there's no question about that. They've certainly ridden very well indeed this evening.
Okay, Kelvin, thank you very much for your thoughts once again. Don't forget, we are back in 2 weeks' time as we go to Kings Lynn against the Somerset Rebels. That's Monday, the 7th of August. A win here for Bellevue against Wolves. See you in 2 weeks' time.
Freddie Lindgren is a man on a mission as he returns to home soil.